Hey guys, welcome to the WTA Weekly Wrap-Up. My name is Jess, and over here on the Quality Shot YouTube channel, we talk about everything that's going on the women's side of the tennis tour. Now, I have to apologize, this layout of this video is very different to the usual videos that I do. I mean, if this is your first time seeing my face, I'm usually in the comfort of my home filming these videos, but I'm actually in Melbourne right now for the Australian Open. I'm in my hotel room. We have a camera set up on a couple of shoe boxes, so, you know, we're doing our best here. And if you hear some noises outside, they're the trams, because in Melbourne, there are plenty of trams. That's actually probably a good way to start. If you are coming to Melbourne for the tennis and you're staying in the city, there are plenty of trams that can take you to the tennis. So definitely keep that in mind if you're traveling into Melbourne for the Australian Open this year. Now, a lot has happened. We've had the first tournaments for 2025 already come to an end. We have our first champions. The draw for the Australian Open is out, so we're going to run through that. We're going to talk about some of the tournaments that have already happened, and I have briefly seen the draw, but I actually haven't really looked at it, so we're going to do that together, and you're going to get my live thoughts on some of the matches that are happening. Look, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, because over here on the Quality Shot YouTube channel, we talk about everything that's going on with the tennis tour. Now, let's get into it. So first we had the Brisbane International. That tournament came to an end, which saw Sabalenka win her first title for 2025. Great start heading into the Australian Open for her, taking that title out. So she beat Kudermetova in 3 sets. Sabalenka dropped the first set 4-6 and then took the next 2 sets 6-3, 6-2. So that was a great start for Sabalenka heading into 2025. And over in the ASB Classic, fortunately for Clara Towson, she took out the title there in Auckland. However, it was a result of Naomi Osaka retiring after the first set. It only got to 6-4, and then Naomi retired due to injury. Really disappointing that Naomi retired. Obviously, this close to the Australian Open, hopefully she is fit and healthy and is able to compete. And, you know, she's in the draw at the time I'm filming this video, so hopefully she's able to compete. But look, that was a disappointing end that she retired. But great for Towson to be able to take out that title, her first one for the season. So that should really help her confidence heading into the Australian Open this year. And we also had the United Cup come to an end, and that was actually a match I was super interested in. I was able to attend the United Cup in Sydney for a couple of days, which was awesome. And the final at the United Cup saw Team USA take on Team Poland. Now, Coco Gauff managed to beat Iga Swiatek 6-4, 6-4 in the final, which was able to help see Team USA take out the United Cup for 2025. Really great to see Coco start the year strong with a win over Iga. Iga was a little bit hampered for a couple of rounds with a bit of a upper leg issue, so hopefully that's not too serious as well heading into the Australian Open. I feel like there's been a lot of players that have been dealing with a few injuries and a few niggles already to start the season, so that's not great, but we will see how that plays out. But great to see Coco manage to beat Swiatek. Considering their head-to-head was very one-sided to Iga. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what that head-to-head is, but it was quite staggering. So it is nice to see Coco now take a couple of wins, and maybe that matchup will become a little bit more competitive. And I'm really fascinated to see what happens at the Australian Open this year. If we get that matchup, I would love to see it. My pick for the Australian Open since the end of last year has been Coco. I still stand by that. I feel like she could take out the Open this year. Sabalenka is also a heavy favourite, is the favourite, but I think Coco has real potential and a real chance to do well at the AO this year. So that was a great matchup for the United Cup. A couple of other matches that we saw included Rybakina going down to Swiatek. It was great to see Rybakina playing tennis again, considering some of the coaching drama that's been going on with her. So in that match, Swiatek managed to beat Rybakina in the semi-final, 7-6, 6-4, and Coco also beat Mahova 6-1, 6-4. And yeah, there were plenty of really good matches in the United Cup this year, and it was really good to see the women stand up and do well for their country this year. Speaking of Rybakina, so there has been a bit of an update in terms of coaching news with her. She has, if you remember at the end of last year, she parted ways with her old coach Gauff. However, he's now back in the team despite the fact that he was provisionally suspended by the WTA for apparently breaching their code of conduct. So that is really interesting. There's a lot of uncertainty at the moment about what's going on. Can he attend any of her matches? I don't believe that he can, but it is really interesting considering there's a lot of talk that maybe there were things that were not going on that weren't right with Rebecca, and you know, it will be interesting to see how that plays out. I think for Rebecca, I really hope that this coaching stuff, she did come out and say that her situation is not, there's no issue, that Gauff was not abusive or anything like that to her, which is really great to hear, but it is still a real developing story. And I just really hope that Rebecca is safe, healthy and happy, and is able to play some good tennis this year, and doesn't, this coaching stuff and what she's saying is completely accurate, that, you know, she is all good. But this is definitely a watch this space situation with him coming back into the team for this year. Before we get into talking about the Australian Open draw, there are a couple of tournaments going on this week that come to an end in a couple of days' time. By the time this video is posted, they might have already concluded. So we have the Hobart International, and we also have the Adelaide International as well going on. And we also have the Australian Open qualifiers that are going on. Well, they have just come to an end yesterday, actually. So there are a couple of Aussies through, including Kim Birrell. That was a beautiful moment. Destiny Ieva also made it through. And yeah, the draw is set. So let's talk about the Australian Open draw. I'm going to look at it here on my phone so we can run through it together. The first thing that I see when I look at this, first round of Aryna Sabalenka taking on Sloane Stephens in the first round. As a Sloane Stephens fangirl my whole life, well, since she went on tour, has been on the tour, I don't love that, if I'm honest, for Sabalenka, but I do love the matchup. I'll be fascinated to see how that goes. But yeah, that is a really tough first round for Sloane Stephens. What other matchups can we talk about here? We have a first round with Blinkova taking on Daria Saville. So that will be interesting. I think that could be a fun match. If you remember, Blinkova last year played an epic round 2 against Rebecca, which she managed to win, which was really good. We have Isla Tomljanovic taking on Ashlyn Kruger. That is another interesting match. I feel that will be good to see how that one plays out. Now, if we go to the next half of the draw, so we have okay, this is something I hadn't seen. Wow, okay, so we have a first round with Coco Gauff taking on Sophia Kenin in the first round. I do think Coco gets through that one, but that is Grand Slam champion versus Grand Slam champion in a first round. How amazing is that? We love to see it. So that is a great first round. I think another really interesting match here as well is Leylah Fernandez taking on Yulia Starodubtseva. Starodubtseva had a good part of last year, towards the end of last year, so I think that could be an interesting matchup to see how that goes. We have a rematch of Naomi Osaka taking on Caroline Garcia. That matchup happened last year in the first round of the Australian Open. So that is a really good first round as well. Hopefully Naomi is fit and healthy to compete and that matchup does happen. But I do really like that. We have another, oh my goodness. Okay, so we have Belinda Bencic taking on Yelena Ostapenko. That is a rough comeback for Belinda Bencic since she's coming back from having a baby, from maternity leave. Her first proper or big tournament was the United Cup, so she is getting back to it, but still that is a huge first round matchup there. Okay, what else have we got? I think Jess Pegula against Maya Joint. That is an interesting one as well. Maya Joint is an Australian tennis player who has been doing really well lately, so I think that could be a really interesting matchup. So a few other notable players in the first round that are set to have some interesting matchups is Elena Rybakina taking on Emerson Jones, which is another young Australian. We have Jasmine Paolini, who will take on a qualifier or a lucky loser. We have a first round matchup with, the 10th seed Danielle Collins will face a qualifier or a lucky loser in that first round. Okay, we have a first round of Emma Navarro taking on Peyton Stearns. I think that will be a really interesting matchup. That one, I'm interested. I think that could possibly be an upset there. That one could be an upset. We'll see how that one goes. Let me know if you've looked at the draw. Tell me what matches you think could be some upsets. But yeah, I think that one could be good. We have Iga Swiatek taking on Siniakova in the first round. We have Emma Raducanu taking on Alexandrova, also in the first round. Putintseva against Avanesian. I think that has potential to be a real fun match. We have Ons Jabeur taking on Kalinina. Ons Jabeur has definitely been having a bit of a comeback as well, so I think that will be really interesting to see how she does at the Australian Open. I hope she has a good run, but that will be fascinating. And so a few of the projected quarterfinals based on the seeds, we could see Sabalenka taking on Zhang, which would be a rematch of the Australian Open final last year if that does happen. We could see Coco Gauff taking on Jess Pegula, Jasmine Paolini against Rybakina, and Swiatek against Emma Navarro. So they're the projected quarterfinals based on the seeds for 2025 at the Australian Open. Look, let me know in the comments if I've missed any matchups that you're really excited to see. But look, the Australian Open is only days away. It's about to kick off. Cannot wait to see how that goes. Look, thank you so much for watching this video. Next time you hear from me, we will be talking about what has been going on at the Australian Open. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I do apologize if there has been any noise or anything going on, but look, you got the video. Tennis doesn't sleep. And I hope you guys enjoyed the start of the Australian Open, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.